Hey everyone, thank you so much for dialing in and making your purchase to invest in yourself. This is Coach Sandra, Glucose Studios. I welcome you to this workshop. I hope that you enjoy it. It should only take about 30 minutes to get through this. And you have made an amazing investment in you and who you are and your future by doing this. So, thank you so much again. The name of this course that you have signed up for today is the foundational tools towards your personal transformation. And I just want to get started right away so we can roll into this course and you can definitely take notes. And you also will get the online PDF of these tools so you can use these tools throughout your entire practice. So, whenever I start a course, it's important to me to set an intention. It is important to me to make sure that I am 100% transparent with you so you know where we're heading into. There's no unknown outcomes. You know exactly what to expect during these 30 minutes. So, my intention for this workshop is that we will review the tools in general and kind of the philosophy behind it and a little bit about me in section 1. Section 2, we dive into the MyHero tool, which is all about envisioning yourself. Number 3, or the third part of this, is that we'll look at the integrity tool so you can make choices with integrity. And then the last of the 3 is the focus tool, which you may find the easiest, maybe the hardest as well, to get to the core of who you are. So, the course is about giving foundational tools that will enhance your leadership and innovation in your professional and maybe in your personal life. It's a super high level course intended to promote my coaching services. I hope it plants a seed. All of these tools are used within the coaching practice. And so it'll give you a good highlight of what the coaching services are. And also, give you these tools to use on your own if you decide that you don't want to go through coaching at this immediate time. And then, just so you know, I will have more detailed workshops for you to work with these tools in a deeper way following up on this workshop coming soon, pretty soon. I'm not sure exactly when. Want to get this rolled out first. So a little bit about me is starting with my why. My why is that I'm passionate about human transformation. The secret that I don't tell that many people is that when I was in school, like high school through college, I had two sets of notes. I would take notes, of course, of the subject matter, but I also took notes observing the teacher. I was fascinated with how people learn and that intersection between the teacher and the learner. That space is amazing, and that is the space where transformation occurs because it's the interaction between two people, how we can reflect each other, how we can grow, or we can also not grow. It could be a negative experience. So I took notes on all of those things as a social scientist and continued to study those things as a design thinker and as an educator myself. And this is my passion. This is what I'm fascinated with, human change. And these tools that I'm presenting to you today have been tested and tried out with many different audiences, many different ages, people all over the world, people from all different types of backgrounds, which is very important to me as well. And they've all worked. I mean, people have come back and said that their life has always been transformed. And I'm so excited that I could be a catalyst for energy for people. The logo, just a little plug, that Glucose Studios logo has 6 different points because there's 6 carbon atoms in the glucose molecule. When you hear glucose, most often you think of sugar or diabetes. But glucose is amazing. It's actually the energy that fuels all living things, even plants, animals, people, etc. Anything that's living, glucose is what the power is behind it. And so the Glucose Studios brand is all about transformation, transforming perspective so that we can look deeper and look into things in a new way. There we go. So, the overview, the reason why you're going to use these tools, when you have a strong rooted foundation, when you're doing life coaching, professional coaching, doing this innovation or leadership coaching, it's always important to have a strong foundation. So, just like when you're building a building, you have a foundation. Just like when you plant a plant, it has strong roots. Us as human beings need to have strong roots, be rooted strong in a way so that we can grow. These three tools, I believe, will give you the foundation and the roots so that you can grow. I recommend spending time doing these things. It could take an average of a couple weeks to about 6 months to get through these things and assess them and implement them into your life so that you have those strong foundation. With a coach, of course, it'll expedite the process. So these three things are simple. It's important to know who you are. And I truly believe in the second one, which is love yourself. If we don't love ourselves, we cannot love anyone else. Other people have argued that it's self-confidence or self-esteem that we have to invest in. And I truly believe that it's love for ourselves. And then everything else comes out after that. And then it's important to believe in yourself. So by using these three tools, you'll get these three things and then be positioned to grow. So here's the first tool. It's called the MyHero tool. I'm going to give you a little bit of a history of this tool. There's two sets of pictures here. The first set is illustrations that I drew. I was a listener volunteer at a emergency homeless shelter in Cleveland. And these men would come. I had a partner in crime, Bill, who would listen to their stories. And believe me, I learned a lot about the homeless or houseless population and really the challenges that were encountered and how they overcome challenges. And a lot of the grit to get out of situations was very powerful and inspiring. And all of these men here actually gave me very powerful, inspiring stories. And by drawing their portraits, they became obsessed with these portraits. They were like one of the few items that they owned that they could keep with them when it was evidence that someone saw them. And it was a fuel. It was a fuel between telling their story and having someone be empathic towards them and then having someone see them was very it was a catalyst for their change. It was very powerful. And then the bottom is a series of photography that I did called the MyHero Project. And that's where this tool comes from. I worked with 18 to 25-year-olds in Cleveland again, where we would go to my basement and the light bulb hanging in the basement and take these beautiful black and white pictures. And their pictures were then hung. Well, we did coaching, which I'll get to the tool. We used this tool to coach where they would find their heroes. And we had a art show that brought the community together in Cleveland that displayed their photos. They were there. We had community leaders, community organizations there. It was in a local community that was very active. And there was also hiring managers there. They were looking to recruit these folks. So it was an excellent experience. So the MyHero tool is about working the muscle of getting to know yourself, assessing your strengths and weaknesses, creating actionable plans, and then keeping it real with who you are, seeing the real you, but really in a quick and an efficient way. So you're going to do all of those things with this tool. So as you can see, we're using the glucose molecule. There's more depth to this. So the philosophy behind this tool is that a leader balances all aspects of their life to live a fulfilling life. So the tool has 6 domains, and what we like to do is see where there are connections. So real quick, the primary domains are physical, emotional, and spiritual. The secondary domains are professional, financial, and relationships. What you do with this tool is you go to each of the domains and you list your current strengths and weaknesses. Then, what we do is take a step back in our coaching session and start to discuss the correlation. So often, we find that you'll have one of the primary and one of the secondary have the weakest points, have more weaknesses than strengths. So you need to work on them. And what we found was that when you worked on the primary and the secondary together, they actually overlapped and impacted each other. So, for instance, for me, often it was my emotional health that I needed to work on, and it overlapped with my financial health. And I was able to actually create action items that supported both at the same time. It was very fascinating. But approaching it in this way really helps to have like concrete goals and really attach like what is really affecting my secondary domains. My financial health was being affected by my emotional health most often. So I could tackle my emotional health and start to see returns in my financial health. So I hope you enjoy that. You could take a super high level approach to that and start thinking about it and assessing it. And in a coaching session, we'll dig deeper because what we want to do is make sure that you feel confident and strong in both the primary and the secondary domains of this tool. So then your next steps to use this tool, once you feel that you're strong and you've kind of really been able to assess your health in those domains and have some really great coaching discussions, is to create a vision board. So, creating vision boards is very common, but this, I believe, is an activity and a tool that is like a vision board on steroids because you have a lot more data points about yourself when you were doing that reflection to create more substantial vision board. You're not just looking at random magazines and trying to find pictures of people because that's fitting in someone else's box. Like you're starting to learn how to paint the picture of who your hero is. Really, that's the vision board that we look out and we can see heroes around us or things that inspire us, but then create this vision board that we become our own hero, which is amazing. I mean, it just gave me chills right now that when we use this tool and when we see ourselves for our true selves, which is really hard for a lot of people I've seen, but this is a nice, gentle way to approach looking at ourselves and then quickly being able to create a vision for ourselves. Powerful tool. I find I do it once a year. Sometimes when I'm going through rapid change, I'll do it quarterly. So I'll do it 4 times a year. And you can do this in quick and cheap ways, but you can also do it if you wanted to invest in more expensive ways. I've seen people frame it and make it an actual piece of art within their studio or within their office. So you can scope and scale this, but I hope you enjoy this tool. All right. So going on to the next tool is the integrity tool. So the MyHero, you envision yourself, you create yourself. Now yourself is ready to go out. And we know foundationally, like just with roots or with a foundation of a building, we get to crossroads, and those crossroads can be very difficult sometimes. What does a yes mean versus what does a no mean? Sometimes in my past, I used to think I had to say yes to everything, but I didn't realize that when I'm saying yes to something, I'm saying no to something. And I learned to flip it. I learned to most often because I knew myself through the vision boarding. I knew what I wanted to do, that I more so wanted to say no so that I can wait for those times I was saying yes. Or it's not just a yes or no, really, at these crossroads. We know life can be a lot more complicated than that. When we looked at those 6 domains, there's so many different aspects that are pulling at us all at once. So this tool is going to help you take the 6 domains of our life so that we can remain balanced as leaders, that we remain balanced in our financial health, our relationships, and our professional health. It is not always just about our career. Because when we're healthy in those other aspects, we know that we are then able to show up as our full selves and authentic selves in all aspects of our life, which we want. We don't want to focus on just a career and then leave our personal lives, our relationships go to the wayside. We become very imbalanced. And then in times of stress, when you need family or friends, they're not there. So it's important to make sure we manage that. And in today's career environment, we know that's very difficult. So let's get started with the integrity tool then. The intention, it's about making decisions with integrity. This tool I used when I was working in tech development. Tech development is rapidly changing, and we had to develop a tool to have a form of assessment whether or not technology was moving forward with integrity. And I believe, and that's a very rapidly changing, volatile environment. We know that there's so many risks involved with AI, for instance. So why not use that same tool in our lives? Again, you're starting to learn at least that I love quick and dirty, high powered things that are really going to transform our lives. I don't mess around here. I want to get this done. And I really believe in shining light and human growth. So the philosophy behind this is it's a Venn diagram that of course you start with, can I? Can I do this? Then you start with, may I? What other types of permissions do I need? How is it going to affect the world around me? And then, should I? Should I really be doing these types of things? Asking that question. And you can put at the top of this tool the crossroads that you're at and ask all the questions that you have within each one of these domains, and even some of the results that may occur with each of these, or who would be affected. And we start to look at the center point where they all meet. And I promise that there will be central themes. And in those themes, it's the core of what really matters in this decision. And that is how we start to make better decisions, and we can do them with integrity. I believe that the power of positivity and the laws of attraction are we that what we put out into the universe, we receive back. Obviously, we're not superheroes that can control the universe, but I have seen time and time again, with a high level of integrity, that usually revolves around good, not good. I don't believe in good or bad, but the returns on your investments coming back with more ease and with less obstacles, because integrity has a very large power. So imagine you as a human being with integrity, you have a stronger sense of power about you that is powerful to help you um, avoid negative energy coming in or obstacles coming in. A person with integrity stands very strong. It puts very strong roots in the ground. And we'll go in deeper, like I said, in the other class to talk about like, what is integrity? What are some examples of it? Because this is very abstract and it could be criticized. People can disagree. And that's fine. But again, time and time again, when I've studied all different types of people, those with integrity have almost a smoother path, or can deal with things with better ease, because you're at the end of the day, you can sleep at night and you're making decisions that hold truth to values of yourself, as well as understanding how it impacts the greater world, because our actions do impact our communities and our world. So that's a beautiful tool. Then the next steps, of course, would be to do that tool and then get a coach, that third person like myself that's going to come in and kind of look at how you kind of sketch that diagram out, what were some of the central themes. And really, I think it's needed to have a third party to come in and ask hard questions to kind of poke at that and say, like, what did you mean by that? Or what do you, and to be able to really assess the problem, which will really help you. Next steps to that is advanced coaching and other types of tools that you're learning how to communicate effectively so that you can find your power and take the next action step. But that tool, what it gives you is the ability to say, this is the direction that I want to move into. And so what I promote is that you use this tool to understand that you can, with confidence, develop a decision point um, that you believe in so that you can move forward with efficiency in your time and your energy. And I look forward to working with you more about then learning how to communicate and make action plans to take those steps moving forward. So this is the third tool. We're right on time. We're doing good. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I hope you're enjoying this. Maybe you paused the video and took some notes and kind of started thinking about how these apply to some of the things that are going on in your life. So the third tool, again, I hope you can feel that we are getting really deep roots, strong foundation here. So the third tool is, how do we actually focus? And I'll say you can switch any of these tools around and do them in any order that makes sense for you. Sometimes people do the focus tool first, but I believe in doing it now because you've kind of like dug in and like with unapologetically and without fear kind of started in a self-assessment, and you have data from these two other tools about yourself that I feel is going to help you with this one. But like I said, some people use this first, which is fine, and I've used this years and years and years with brand development. So essentially we're looking at understanding our why, and I'll get into why that's important. And then so it helps you, the evidence shows that when you know your why, which is more abstract than what you do. For instance, like I'm a project manager. How does I'm a project manager take less weight than my why, which I told you in the beginning? My why is that I believe in human transformation. I love studying humans and understanding human transformation. That's my why. I want to be able to transform people's lives to achieve their best and to shine their light. So that's my why. It does take greater weight, but in our society, we often define ourselves just culturally with our what. So let's look at how we can bring our why to the forefront and have that as our central focus. You may recognize this tool. It's been used in many different ways. So I talked about the philosophy that your what and your how can change. I call this a focus activity. Some people call it a bullseye, but I like doing trauma informed. So for bullseye, it can be triggering, and I probably shouldn't have said it, but I wanted to share with you like my methods and how I think. So in the center is your why, and then around it is your how, and then on the very outside is your what. If you're familiar with chemistry, you would know that electrons are on the outside of an atom, and they can bounce, they can go away, they can come and go. And that's kind of like what your what is. Your what can change. You can have a ton of what's too. Like I'm a project manager, I'm a teacher, I'm an artist, I'm a swimmer. That's not me. You. I'm thinking about you. Some of these people. I'm a gardener. I'm a mother. I'm an aunt, I'm a grandfather, I'm a CEO, I'm a financial analyst, whatever it is, like your what can be all of those things. And then your how can get a little challenging for some people. I can help you with it. It's like, how do you do it? Maybe you do put project management there. It's like the skills of how you do it. So like if I was an educator in my what, my how can start to be developed like kind of whittling in what makes me unique is the certain way that I teach. Like I do inquiry based education when I'm working with young students. So I can put whatever method I use. Say you're a programmer and you have a unique way of doing it, you could put that there. And it's helpful to take time to think about it. So in the instructions of using this tool, I recommend starting on your outside and then making your way in because it's another form of self-assessment. So now I can get into my why. What you do is you start to look at your what's and your hows and you think what do these things have in common? What are my core values? You could put those there too and start to think of your why and that core statement. And I wish you well on this. I hope that you get some amazing whys that's really going to fuel and spark your fire and lead you towards being focused, because when we're doing coaching and we're talking about what your next pathway is going to be, it all is going to I'm going to keep asking the question, does that align with your why? Does that align with your why? And it's a yes or no. And that's how we can quickly make decisions in our coaching. You could think of a professional athlete, their why are they a professional athlete? They want to be the fastest, highest jumping NBA player. Why? Because, they care about playing, having a global inspiration and influence on younger people, maybe, whatever it is. And so when we're making, you would think like as an athlete, which is different than life coaching, maybe it's not even that deep. Maybe it's like, why are you a professional athlete? You want to be the highest jumping basketball player. Okay. So my coach is always my physical coach, my personal trainer is going to ask me, how am I going to always achieve that goal? It's the same thing with your life and your professional and your leadership and your innovation coaching, which is what we specialize in, is like, what is your why when it comes to leadership and innovation? How are you going to be the best leader? That's where we're going to go. And we're going to define it. What makes you a leader? Why do you want to be a leader? Why do you want to be an innovator? So I challenge you to brain dump everything and then categorize them and try to get to your why, because your next steps are that we could work together. I can look at this tool and we'll craft it together. And crafting takes time. And it's like a muscle, just like I expressed, that it needs to get stronger and assessed over time so we can really believe in it. It took me a couple years to believe in my why statement. So that concludes the presentation for today. And I'm going to go back to the very beginning because this is a nicer screen. And I thank you. I promised you 30 minutes. It was less than 30 minutes. I thank you, thank you, thank you so much for taking this workshop. I hope it inspired you. I know I gave you really great tools. Please use the tools and email me and let me know what you think about these tools. If you would change them in any way, I'm always open for feedback. And use the tools and let's get together. Let's coach. Let's get this growing. Let's get this growing. Peace. Have a fantastic day.